In this script, we delve into the profound teachings of Buddha as he engages in deep dialogue with seekers of wisdom. The discussions revolve around understanding the nature of suffering, the liberation from desires, and the path towards enlightenment. As we explore Buddha's responses to various questions, we uncover insights that are as relevant today as they were 2,500 years ago. Introduction: The Dialogue of Wisdom. In the sacred scriptures, Buddha is depicted as a teacher who engages with those who seek liberation from suffering. The questions posed to him often reflect the universal human experience: pain, fear, and the longing for peace. Buddha responds with deep compassion and profound wisdom, offering practical guidance to overcome these challenges. People come to Buddha with their fears, desires, and attachments, all of which are the sources of their suffering. The Buddha, with his enlightened mind, explains how these attachments bind people to cycles of suffering. Through examples and teachings, he leads the seekers towards the path of wisdom and liberation. The nature of suffering. Why does it exist? The first question often raised in these dialogues is about the nature of suffering. Why do we suffer, and what is the cause of our pain? Buddha responds by explaining that suffering arises from desires and attachments. The craving for pleasure, wealth, recognition, and even the desire to escape from pain all bind us to suffering. Buddha teaches that suffering is not just the result of external circumstances, but also a product of our internal attachment to them. We experience pain because we hold on to things that are transient, believing that they will provide lasting happiness. This illusion, Buddha says, is the root of all suffering. The fire of desire. How to extinguish it? In the dialogues, one seeker admits that their mind is constantly consumed by desires, like a fire burning endlessly. Buddha responds with compassion, teaching that the key to liberation lies in understanding and detaching from desires. He explains that desires are like flames; they consume us and bring suffering. However, just as a fire can be extinguished, the desires within our minds can also be controlled and extinguished. This is done through mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom. Buddha urges the seeker to focus on the present moment, to meditate on the nature of desires, and to cultivate a mind free from attachment. The path of liberation, practicing the teachings. Buddha emphasizes that liberation is not a theoretical concept, but a practical path that must be walked. The teachings of mindfulness, right action, and right understanding are not merely intellectual exercises, but practices that transform the heart and mind. Buddha explains the importance of ethical conduct, mental discipline, and wisdom in achieving freedom from suffering. By observing the precepts, maintaining mental focus, and gaining insight into the nature of existence, one can gradually overcome desires and attachments. The role of compassion in the path to enlightenment. As the dialogue continues, Buddha speaks of compassion. While wisdom is essential for understanding the nature of suffering, compassion is equally important. Compassion for oneself and others is what allows us to walk the path of enlightenment with kindness and humility. Buddha teaches that true wisdom is not cold and detached, but is rooted in compassion. Compassion helps us to see others' suffering as our own and motivates us to act in ways that alleviate that suffering. Through compassion, we not only heal ourselves but also contribute to the healing of the world. Breaking free from the cycle. The importance of non-attachment. Throughout the dialogues, one of the most central themes is non-attachment. Buddha explains that attachment to anything, whether material possessions, people, or even ideas, keeps us bound to the cycle of suffering and rebirth. Non-attachment, however, does not mean renouncing the world or retreating from life. Instead, it means engaging with the world without being controlled by desires or expectations. By practicing non-attachment, we can experience life fully without being trapped by the fluctuations of pleasure and pain. The secret to true peace: living in the present moment. Buddha teaches that true peace comes from living in the present moment. Most of us are trapped in the past or future, constantly ruminating on past mistakes or worrying about future outcomes. Buddha urges the seeker to let go of both the past and the future and to focus on the present moment. The present moment is where true happiness resides. By practicing mindfulness, we become aware of our thoughts, feelings, and actions in real time. This awareness allows us to make wise choices and to live with greater peace and harmony. Overcoming fear and anxiety: the role of wisdom. In the dialogues, many of the seekers express fear and anxiety about their lives, their future, and their ultimate fate. Buddha addresses these fears by teaching that wisdom is the antidote to fear. Fear arises when we do not understand the impermanent nature of life. When we realize that all things are transient, including our fears, we can begin to release our attachment to them. Wisdom enables us to see life as it truly is, constantly changing, uncertain, and ultimately beyond our control. By accepting this reality, we free ourselves from unnecessary fear and anxiety. The importance of self-realization: understanding our true nature. Another theme that emerges in the dialogues is self-realization, the understanding of one's true nature. Buddha teaches that we are not our thoughts, emotions, or physical bodies. We are, at our core, pure awareness. When we realize this, we transcend the ego and its attachments. We stop identifying ourselves with external circumstances and begin to live in harmony with the true nature of existence. This self-realization leads to freedom from suffering and is the ultimate goal of the spiritual path. The role of meditation: cultivating inner peace. One of the most practical teachings Buddha offers is the practice of meditation. Meditation is the tool that helps us calm the mind, gain insight, and achieve clarity. Through meditation, we learn to observe our thoughts and emotions without being carried away by them. We develop the ability to stay present and aware, which is essential for breaking free from the cycle of suffering. Meditation also cultivates the qualities of patience, kindness, and compassion, which are integral to the path of enlightenment. The final realization: the end of suffering. As the dialogue comes to a close, Buddha reveals the final truth: the end of suffering is possible. It is not something that is given to us externally, but something that we achieve through our own effort and wisdom. The end of suffering comes when we fully understand the impermanent nature of all things and detach from our desires and attachments. It comes when we cultivate wisdom, compassion, and mindfulness in every aspect of our lives. By walking the path laid out by Buddha, we can transcend the cycle of suffering and attain lasting peace and happiness. Conclusion: a living wisdom for the present age. The teachings of Buddha are not merely historical or philosophical concepts. They are living wisdom, relevant to every human being who seeks freedom from suffering. The dialogues between Buddha and the seekers offer timeless lessons on how to live a life of peace, wisdom, and compassion. As we reflect on these teachings, we are reminded that the path to enlightenment is not a distant goal, but a present reality. By practicing mindfulness, cultivating compassion, and understanding the nature of suffering, we can transform our lives and the world around us. Buddha's teachings continue to offer profound guidance, not only for spiritual seekers, but for anyone who wishes to live a life of true happiness and peace. Final reflection: Buddha's wisdom remains as relevant today as it was in ancient times. The answers to our deepest questions about suffering, desire, fear, and peace are all contained within these timeless teachings. By embracing Buddha's teachings, we can live more fully, more peacefully, and with greater wisdom. Conclusion. This script, based on the wisdom of Buddha, provides deep insights into the nature of suffering, the path to liberation, and the importance of compassion, mindfulness, and wisdom. By sharing these teachings, we hope to inspire others to walk the path of enlightenment and find true peace and happiness in their lives.